We've made it over into the month of September. Welcome to what could be the start of new possibilities. While some battles may have been lost, especially with the advent of COVID-19, being here today means we've won some of those battles. We want to keep the victories coming in, and that involves beating a virus with a high vaccine uptake. So while you do that part, we'll continue doing our part by equipping you with the right information. I'm Theodore Henry, and our drive to inform continues today, so welcome to Jamaica Magazine. Lots to share, and it starts with the day's news.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Our children have been out of school for a year and a half. The impact on their education is significant, and it will be long-lasting. As a responsible government, we cannot place the education of your children, our children, at risk. There is a ray of hope, and that hope comes in the form of the vaccine.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, September 1. Classes for the new school year will begin online starting Monday, September 6. In confirming the date, Education Minister Favour Williams has reiterated that face-to-face learning remains suspended until high schools reach a 65% vaccination rate or higher. She gave the update on Tuesday during a virtual parents' town hall on vaccination.
Our objective in the education system is to get our students back in the face-to-face mode as quickly and as safely as we can. Obviously, we have to be guided by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And while we're waiting, our children will still have access to education via the online mode, via our learning kit, and via the audiovisual platforms that we have.
Minister Williams says about 28,000 children aged 12 to 18 years have received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine. She's reiterating the call for all education stakeholders to take the COVID-19 vaccine. This includes parents, their children, teachers, and school administrators.
Whether you are the security guard at the gate who helps to take temperature and give some sanitization, whether you are the groundsman, whether you are the maintenance person, the cook, administrator, in whatever office that you work, we're also imploring those persons who work within the education sector to be vaccinated.
Over 1,200 tourism workers were inoculated on day one of a series of vaccination blitz events targeting industry players. The blitz began on Monday at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in Kingston and will continue Thursday in Negril and on Friday in Ocho Rios. Vaccination sites for Montego Bay, Port Antonio, and the South Coast will be determined later. Future vaccination activities are also being planned for Emancipation Park in Kingston, Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay, the Falmouth Cruise Ship Pier, Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, and the Port Antonio Cruise Ship Pier. This intervention is one of the outcomes of the newly formed Tourism Vaccination Task Force. The group is targeting the inoculation of 170,000 workers in the tourism industry. Target groups include workers in hotels, villas, and guest houses, attractions, airports, cruise ports, craft markets, and ground transportation operators. Vaccinations are being accommodated by the Ministries of Health and Local Government and the Private Sector Vaccine Initiative. $169 million has been set aside to improve road infrastructure in central Manchester. The funds were pledged during a recent visit to the area by Minister without Portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Everald Warmington.
We listen to the call and the cries of people. Plus, I've made it clear before that any community can make representation to this member of parliament. Not only do I entertain requests from members of parliament, I made it clear all along that any community can write to this member, get a petition from your community and advisement of the situation, which is the best we can do.
From the $169 million allocation, $60 million will be spent on road repairs for Williamsfield to Cumberland, Royal Flat to Old England, and Mandeville to Rudd's Corner. $80 million will be spent to improve traffic management in and around the town of Mandeville. This will include installation of traffic lights and the conversion of Manchester Road to two-way traffic. Phase 2 of a drainage improvement project for Mandeville worth $29 million will soon be completed as well. In addition to setting aside funds for road patching, Minister Warmington says the National Works Agency will be collaborating with the Member of Parliament for Central Manchester to identify other priority areas. 10 women business owners will receive financial and business development support to scale up their operations. It's part of the Women in Entrepreneurship Support WES project, Phase 2. Approximately $1.14 million is being provided by United Nations UN Women, and each participant will receive $100,000 towards business development activities. Beneficiaries will get access to a suite of business development services, including training. This is expected to help them build capacity, attract investment opportunities, and increase market share and revenue. It also seeks to facilitate the integration of these small and medium-sized enterprises into the national, regional, and global value chains. Training and technical support is being provided by the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, JBDC.
The WES project was developed to empower female entrepreneurs so that they have economically viable and sustainable businesses.
Phase 2 will focus on building on the gains of the previous phase by providing technical assistance and financial support to 20 women entrepreneurs per annum for the next 5 years.
The project, which started in 2018, is being implemented jointly by the Gender and Commerce Ministries through the Bureau of Gender Affairs. Nominations are now open for the 2021 Prime Minister's National Youth Awards for Excellence. Applications are being accepted between August 30 and September 24. Information Minister Favour Williams says this year's nomination process was opened earlier to facilitate greater reach and diversity of applicants. The award ceremony is normally held in Youth Month, which is celebrated annually in November.
This signifies a more intense and robust approach to strengthening the sensitization around the Prime Minister's National Youth Award for Excellence. Additionally, a greater emphasis on the promotion of underrepresented nomination categories, such as environmental protection.
The Prime Minister's National Youth Awards for Excellence is open to all Jamaican nationals between 15 and 29 years old who are living in Jamaica or the diaspora. Interested persons may visit youthjamaica.com to download the award criteria and application forms and submit them to pmyouthawardsja@gmail.com. For further information, call 876-922-1400, extension 6126 or 6141. And finally, the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, says COVID-19 guidelines have been established to ensure the safe staging of the 2021 game bird hunting season. The protocols are in line with measures set out by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The game bird hunting season runs from August 21 to September 26, with hunting sessions starting at sunrise to 9 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to sunset on Saturdays and sunrise to 9 a.m. on Sundays. Only the pea-dove, white-winged dove, bald-pate, and mourning dove are to be hunted. The overall bag limit per hunting season is 20 birds, with no more than 15 being white-crowned pigeons. Hunting is prohibited within game reserves or sanctuaries, forest reserves, the Blue and Jonkro Mountains National Park, and within 50 meters of their boundaries. Persons wishing to participate in the season must obtain a hunting license from NEPA's 10 Caledonia Avenue office or any authorized vendor. All applicants must have a valid firearm license or user's permit for a shotgun and a tax registration number to access a hunter's license. Hunters are reminded that hunting reports not completed and returned by December 31 of the same year of the season will attract a late processing fee of $5,000 before a hunter's license for the 2021 hunting season is granted. Additional information on the 2021 game bird hunting season may be garnered by calling 876-754-7540, extension 3602, or 888-991-500. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
As we step into the beginning of a new month, it feels just about okay to reflect on what scientists say is our best shot at seeing the end of this pandemic. Admittedly, that end might seem far and feel disconcerting, but we do have hope, our biggest one being the plethora of vaccines available. See exactly what we mean in this next feature.
We cannot continue in managing the pandemic by always shutting down. Shutting down has serious financial implications.
That's why government has opted to scale up its vaccination drive. It's another instrument in the state's toolbox aimed at wresting the country from the grips of the COVID-19 pandemic. And unlike other measures currently in place, this tool is one that only you can effectively utilize. Since March 2020, Jamaica has been in a fight against the coronavirus. So far, the island has taken heavy losses. The death toll is rising. COVID-19 cases are increasing. Hospitalization rates are going up. Schools have been forced online. Business and recreational hours have been curtailed, and the list goes on. But now we have a chance to turn the tide, and that fighting chance is through vaccination.
Why should I take a COVID-19 vaccine?
Are COVID-19 vaccines safe?
Are there side effects?
Yes, the questions are many, but the government is making itself available to give you the answers you seek. Let's start from the beginning. Vaccines are a type of medicine that stimulates a person's immune system to protect against the disease. When vaccinated, the body can make antibodies to fight an infection before you become unwell. COVID-19 vaccines are more than 82% effective in preventing infection. The vaccine is administered in either 2 doses or a single shot, depending on the brand. In the case of the 2-dose vaccine, the first and second shots are given 3 weeks apart. Once a person receives the 2 doses, they are not fully protected until 2 weeks later. Common side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine include injection site pain, fatigue, fever, and aches. Persons may also experience other side effects which don't usually last longer than 3 days. After 72 hours, if side effects continue, you are asked to seek medical attention. Vaccinated persons may still be able to get infected with COVID-19, though the chances of this are minimal. But what's more comforting is that you are unlikely to get severely ill from the infection. Now that we've got the basics out of the way, let's get down to the meat of the matter.
Why should I take the COVID-19 vaccine?
The vaccine is there to protect your life, your livelihood, your happiness against a virus that can kill you.
Why should I take this hurry-come-up medication?
The work in the development of the vaccine depended on all the scientific knowledge that we've built up over the decades, developing the childhood vaccines that are so effective and safe, but also went back to 2005 with the SARS outbreak.
These vaccines have a long history of development. Though they were rapidly brought to market, they were in development for a long time. The technology around the development of these vaccines is well tested and well proven as well.
How effective are vaccines?
The vaccines that are authorized by the WHO are proven to be effective and safe. They are not perfect, but we do find that they are very effective in preventing people getting severe disease, and they are safe. It's very rare serious adverse events occur.
Can COVID-19 vaccine cause death?
The level of concerns in terms of adverse reactions, those have been statistically insignificant and very small. So in general, the vaccines appear to be very, very safe.
In fact, you have a bigger risk if you go into your car in the next hour and drive for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You have a bigger risk of dying in a road accident.
Can the vaccine worsen a medical condition?
Calculate your risk. If you feel you're sick and you're too sick to take it, get your doctor's advice.
Is the vaccine the virus?
The vaccine is prepared in a way that it cannot really infect you. All it can do is stimulate your immune system.
It is in the achievement of herd immunity safely that we will be able to dispense with these non-clinical measures, which have had a devastating impact on our economy.
When is the best time to take the vaccine?
The time is now. We have vaccines. We have enough vaccines that if you should come out tomorrow, we'll be able to vaccinate everyone who would come.
Does the vaccine really protect?
It will almost always protect you from serious disease, even due to Delta. But it may not prevent you from becoming infected. You could still get infected with the virus, but your body resists getting very ill. And most people will resist getting any symptoms, but there is still a little risk that you could. Hence, we keep on the mask. All of us are vaccinated, but we keep on the mask.
How can I get the COVID vaccine in my community?
We will come to a community near you. If you are in doubt as to a location, contact your closest health center. We have 325 of them across the country, normally within close proximity to a community, or your parish hospital, or your member of parliament, or your councillors, or your church leaders or civic leaders, because we're going to be reaching out to them.
We have mapped where our persons with special needs are, and we will be engaging them.
Which COVID vaccine is the best?
The best vaccine is the one that is available. And we will have all the approved vaccines, or most of the approved vaccines. But take the first vaccine that is available. That is the best vaccine. That's the safest one, because the quicker you get it, the safer you are.
Let's get back on track. Let's keep ourselves and our families safe. After all, we're one Jamaica, one family.
Investing in good overall health is also important to battling COVID-19. That simply means eating right, exercising, and taking care of your body. Government wants to ensure that we can produce those immune system boosting foods, and they're doing that by making lands available for production.
To provide jobs for persons, it lets me feel like, I'm really contributing to the economy of the country. It's just a good feeling, and to produce the quality products, to compete with the international market, and to produce goods that actually look much better than imported goods is a good feeling for me.
Agro Investment Corporation continues to scout for lands in Jamaica that are best suited for agricultural production through the National Land Agency and the Commission of Lands, and also with private enterprises. So wherever there is unused government lands or private lands, Agro Investment Corporation will profile these lands.
So by now, we should all be aware of the benefits of leasing lands from the government. But once you've leased the land, how do you maximize returns? Well, knowing the soil type is important. For instance, did you know that over in the Ebony Park Spring Plain Agro Park, the soil type impacts the kinds of crops that can be planted there?
Ebony Park Agro Park is about 1,100 acres, and likewise the Spring Plain, and that's roughly all the lands within there. There are areas of non-arable areas, but there are arable areas. Arable areas amount on the Ebony Park side to about 800 acres. There's a lot of different soil types, predominantly Bonegate, clay loam. Basically anything can grow here. Once it requires a pH of about 6.5 to about 7. There are pockets where the pH might fall to about 5.5, 5.8. So if there's a crop that needs to be having a lower pH, soil could be amended to facilitate that. But basically anything will grow.
So let's revisit our checklist. We've applied and submitted all the necessary documentations, including proof of our capacity to invest in the land. We've learned about soil types and pH balances in the soil. What's next after you've been approved?
They would assign you a plot number, or they'd give you a designated area to where you'd be assigned. I guess you'd view it to see maybe what you'd need to do. If it needs a bit of clearing, you might want to look at that, how you go about doing that. You'll be advised as to the best way to get that done. You might want to go to the NIC because our water is pressurized, and so the NIC supplies it. So a part of your contract would give you the ability to go to NIC with tenure of land, and then they would then come and put your meter on so that you get ready supply for water. We also offer tractor services to plow, harrow, farrow, and other activities that you might want, rotovate and so on for your lands. So you'll be able to do that. Once you do that, we could tell you of maybe different cycles, crop cycles, where you might want to plant, best time for certain crop. You might be able to go out of these seasons, but at least we'll be able to tell you that this crop does well in a particular season. The risk might be higher in another season, but so might be the returns. So you could get advice as to that. So local advice will be there ready for you.
Meet Henry Gibbons, a youth farmer who is a beneficiary of this initiative. He started out acquiring just 5 acres of land, and today he is up to 15. Gibbons plants various crops at different stages, including Scotch bonnet pepper, sweet potato, and Maruga red watermelons, as well as slicing and plummy tomatoes.
Leasing land from the government, it is actually beneficial, and at the point where I would actually want to lease more if available. You know, I am not employed otherwise, so it allows me to take care of my 2 babies, and it allows me to eat and survive. So it is something very beneficial, I would say. Life here at Ebony Park, it's twofold. It's good sometimes, and sometimes it's challenging. One, persons around, some persons, they know what to do with their crops, for example, and they don't want to do it. So sometimes, we have a lot of pest and disease outbreak, and some persons just don't want to invest the funds or do what is right to actually, make the agro park much better and a much cleaner environment. And then, also, sometimes there's a major issue with the whole irrigation system. It costs a lot sometimes, because even if you look into the pepper field, sun scalding is a result of a lack of water supply sometimes. But it's a blessing, and there is not only negative, because once you have irrigation, then without the irrigation, I couldn't do anything like this, none at all.
Farming can be an expensive venture, but it's also beneficial. As a youth farmer, the challenges may not even be financial.
Some older persons, because they're so, relatively young, they don't want to work with you because they said they don't want to work with a younger person. However, sometimes it's good to know that, for some persons that really can't afford to go into the farming as deep, that you can provide them with not only a job, but you can also assist them with technical advice to improve their smaller production that they do as well. My advice to younger farmers or investors is that they should not be discouraged or swayed from agriculture. It is something that can be beneficial, and it's a good way to make a good foundation for themselves and their families. So it's something that they should look into and be strong about it. That's the only way we can build our country.
If you followed our advice from earlier and head outside to tend to the soil and plants, you might also consider taking note of our wildlife and ensure you're not doing anything to jeopardize this natural treasure. This is an important piece of our environment, and the experts break down the need to safeguard this group of plants, animals, and insects.
Bow your ears for a bit. Hear the trees wailing or the leaves grabbing your unwanted carbon dioxide. insects making a shrilling sound, and the tuneful noise of some unnamed and rarely seen creature reverberating within the bushes. Now open your eyes a bit wider. Watch ants band together in groups of hundreds, or wasps gathering wood shavings to build their next home, and birds preparing some sweet meal for your liking. All these make up the wildlife, those organisms that grow or live wild in any area.
Wildlife conservation is an attempt to preserve either a species or a population of a particular species, and by doing so, you in effect are also preserving its habitat because the species doesn't exist on its own. And there are different types of conservation. You have what they call in-situ conservation, which is conservation within its natural habitat, and that is usually the aim of all most, if not all, conservation efforts. And you have ex-situ conservation, where you're trying to preserve the animals in a not so natural state, for example, in a zoo or in a controlled park area. And again, the goal is usually when their natural habitat is improved or protected in some way, then they try to repatriate those species back into their natural habitat.
And preserving the wildlife should be an important part of the human agenda. Here's why. It promotes the continuation of native plant species. Small animals like bees, butterflies, and our very own doctor bird play an important role in food production. Conserving these animals, protecting these animals, means that we are ultimately helping in pollination. It increases medicinal value. Plants are a major source of medication, but so too are animals. Take, for example, how research shows that the venom from the cobra can be used as an ingredient in making the medications for leprosy, or how lobsters can be used as antifungals. It's a way to preserve our heritage. Some plants and animals are unique to specific countries, so conserving those wildlife means conserving those traditional aspects of our culture, things like the blue maho plant or the yellow pui tree of Jamaica, and even the lions and leopards of Africa. It enhances food security by protecting natural habitats from degradation and forests against deforestation. The availability of a variety of food products increases.
Everyone needs to play a part. We have to understand that preserving the wildlife, it's not necessarily just for how it can benefit us, but we're also looking at the future generations. And so each person needs to be a little bit more responsible in what they're doing, where they dispose of garbage, cutting off areas and so forth. Understand the law, the Wildlife Protection Act, for example. One basic feature of it is that all native birds are protected. Don't catch the birds. We have hunting season, that is something that is actually regulated. But besides that, we try to encourage persons not to take matters into their own hands at times. Sometimes we have some species that we're trying to protect that are inherently can be a dangerous species, like a crocodile, for example. We encourage persons not to go out and try to catch those animals, but to call NEPA.
Here's your chance to do your part to conserve the wildlife.
And just by staying with the JIS team today, you would have learned something about preparing for a better tomorrow, a better September, and a much better life. But if you need a reminder, you can watch it all again on the JIS YouTube channel. And if you've already gone online, why not also visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Until we meet here again, remember to take good care of your health.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.